When he came down, I showed him what I'm about to show you now. And that kind of instigated a conversation. So we ended up sitting down at my kitchen table and we recorded that conversation. So I'll play that for you soon. But I just want to show you what I was showing him. It's around the whole topic of censorship and how I was in the kitchen on the iPad making a comment, and suddenly I went back for some reason and I noticed that my comment had completely and totally disappeared. And I tried again and I noticed, where's my comment gone? So I came in here to my computer and I tried again. And still my comment was gone. And so what I decided to do it again, but this time I decided to screen record it. So this is the screen recording you're looking at. So what I'm doing here, right, this is my comment. The guy was essentially saying is that now that everything is reopening, it'll all be a distant memory soon. So all my comment was pretty benign. All I was saying was that no, everything's not opening. This is never ending, essentially. That's what I was saying. And this was never about a quote unquote pestilence. So just watch what happens here. I'm pressing reply, okay? Copying and pasting my answer in, then clicking reply. And watch below now. Look. You see there, all that came up was the first two words of my comment. So, and I did it a second time. I actually did it about 5 or 6 times. So this is another version of it where I've done it again. So I'm clicking reply here. Okay, pasting my comment in here. I'm going to click reply now. Watch the screen mouse. And watch down here. My reply comes up. Oops. Nearly all of it is missing. So this is so subtle you wouldn't even notice it happening. And I just caught it by pure chance. So this must be happening to so many individuals. It's a form of big tech Sharia whereby they are training you to not to say certain things or certain things that they disapprove of. And this has the effect of not thinking certain things. You know, it's training you not to think certain thoughts. On the screen about my comments being deleted. What do you make of that?
I'm not surprised in one sense in the fact that in the last 6 to 8 months I've actually found myself unsubscribed from your channel 3 times, where it's been a situation where I thought, why am I not getting any notifications from Paul about his videos? And I've gone back into your channel and noticed that I'm actually unsubscribed.
Has it happened to you with other channels as well? I know it's happened to me.
Yeah, one other channel that I know that it's definitely happened on is the Dr. Steve Turley channel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I tend not to watch much of his channels anymore, but I'm still subscribed, but he's too positive for me. I don't know how he does it.
I found myself not watching him so much anymore, but this was more when I was following what was going on between the US elections, you know?
Yeah. That was really interesting for me now, a few days ago over the weekend when I was putting that comment in, and repeatedly it kept deleting the comment. In fact, the comment wasn't actually even coming up to be deleted. Before it even got to the point of showing on screen, it was already filtered out. That's how sophisticated the algorithms are now. And what I was saying was pretty benign, you know?
Yeah.
I was just, what was I saying? All I was saying was, this was never about health or virus from the beginning, so didn't even make it on the screen.
It doesn't take much for them to have keywords to trigger.
Yeah. And what was going to say there now? I don't know. We were just, that's interesting now that you were unsubscribed. Actually, because I've noticed it sometimes that, like, I reckon, no, I've only got about 2,000 subscribers at the moment, but I always keep an eye, especially when you're a small channel, you tend to, it's a big deal if your subscriptions increase. Like if I had 100,000 subscriptions and then you get 1 or 2,000 new subscribers, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But like when you start off with 20 subscribers, then it goes to 100, like it's a big deal. Then it gets to 500. So you're always kind of watching. Like a year ago, 6 months ago, I had only 1,000 subscribers. So, but I've noticed, especially in the last year, that subscriptions are either dropping off constantly, or they'll increase by about 10, then they'll drop down by 15.
Yeah, but it seems that it's only certain channels that have a certain
The dangerous ones.
the dangerous ones, the ones that are starting to question certain things and looking further. And I've not found myself unsubscribed from any channels that are mundane, normal, day-to-day channels.
Yeah. Ben, we were chatting about India there
Yeah.
a while back, and or not a while back, but earlier on, I was showing you there on the BBC how, like, the headlines are extraordinarily dramatic, burning funeral pyres and all that.
Yeah.
And I was making the point to you that India, like, first of all, it's a third world country. There's, 1.5 billion people. Half the population have no access to a toilet, so it's disease is rife there.
Yes.
However, but this is kind of being used as the new kind of COVID
Propaganda.
Yeah, it's being used to support the the waning narrative on this side of the world in one sense, with these dramatic pictures. But what I did the other night, I know I said it, I'm just saying it now again for the benefit of the recording. What I did the other night is I went to there's a page on Wikipedia about statistics for deaths and all that, and like I said to you, I noticed it was for India, the death rate was 1.1%, but for Ireland it was 2%, and in India it was and this was as of around the 21st or 22nd of April. The death rate per million for India was 136 per every million, but in Ireland it was over 1,000.
Yeah.
Per million.
But, like, for me, like, India is a perfect kind of example for them to go to now, because they can only get so much mileage out of each country that they go to. So at the beginning it was America, then South America, then South Africa.
It was Italy for a while as well.
Italy for a while, and then obviously Ireland with having the strictest lockdowns and having the worst apparent COVID rates in Europe. So I think India is kind of like the perfect place for them to go now, because being a third world country and the death rates being so high there anyway because of the large population. And
tell the listeners what you've been to India.
I was in India in 2013.
Tell them about the train station.
And I saw the worst of India. And
now, how long ago was this first? Just for the
2013.
Okay, so this is 8 years ago.
Yeah. And I saw the worst of India and I saw the best of India. But one thing that struck me was the amount of homeless people that were there, obviously. And when you're moving around India, the best time to travel is very early in the morning. So a lot of the homeless people used to go into the train stations to sleep. And things that I noticed on one particular incident, we went into the train station, and the train station guards were actually starting to clear out the people from the train station. And they were literally just picking up the bodies of people that had passed away in the night and putting them on a cart and wheeling them out and dumping them outside the train station.
Are we talking about a lot of people now, or what? Where's this? What part of India was this in?
This was in Jaipur.
Okay, so you actually saw this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
would these have been old people, or what? Are people who are just diseased or starving?
This would have been, I would presume, I didn't stay around long enough to really look at the people, but it's disrespectful. But there was a wide range of people, young, old,
and this is every
disabled.
Night. Yeah.
And I saw this on 2 different occasions, and if I was only there for a few weeks, so if I see that on 2 occasions, I'm sure it's happening.
Yeah. So what you're saying, essentially, is that this is not an unusual happening.
No, and the other thing that I learned while I was in India is that there is a huge problem with diabetes in India. So there's a lot of the population that have.
So these we would call these underlying conditions or comorbidities.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. In Western parlance.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. What was the thing you said to me about the lump of sugar? Or what? Tell the listeners about that. Was interesting.
Oh, they offer sugar. It's a sweet, but basically it's pure sugar that they offer up when they're doing certain ceremonies. But after they've done their ceremonies, they eat that. So sugar's
They're kind of offerings to the gods.
offerings
so
to the
gods
gods.
in India have kind of a sweet tooth.
It would seem that way, yeah. But so after the offerings were made, they would consume that sugar, and sugar is a huge part of the diet in India. So they have massive diabetes problems.
Like, would they mix that in with curries and stuff like that, or what? You mean
And
general consumption, or what?
general consumption, they're very sweet toothed nation. They like their.
I didn't know that. I wouldn't have thought. To my mind now, that would have been sugar would have been some kind of luxury. In
No, there's you would see them on the streets. There was street vendors that they'd make this very sugary drink, and you would see them actually crushing the sugar cane with the old machines on the street, and you could buy it as a drink to.
Okay, interesting. Any other interesting experience in India comes to mind?
It goes off subject to what we're talking about, but like I saw one man there that actually had his eyelids cut out. Because there's certain gangs within India that they extort children basically to beg for money.
Yes.
And they see children with disabilities to have a higher yield of collections than what a normal child would. So they do awful things to children, these gangs. They...
This kind of reminds me of the... have you seen Slumdog Millionaire?
I have, yeah.
Where they gouge that child's eyes out, just to beg for money.
But that's not fictional. That kind of thing does happen.
So are you saying, Ben, that all cultures are not equal?
I would say that not all cultures. Well, there's.
You're not a racist, Ben, are you?
No, not at all. But there's bad people in every walk of life.
True.
It doesn't matter what colour you are or what your personal beliefs are, but there's good and bad in every walk of life.
There's one, I knew this, when I was living in Germany, I knew this German girl, and she had gone to India for a while, it was a few months, but she told me this story where she had to get a train at a given time in the morning. Now, she was German, and this person I know was very, very German, so if something is supposed to leave at 11 o'clock, she expects it to leave precisely at 11 o'clock, because that's the German way. But she was standing on the platform. Let's say it was 11 o'clock. I don't remember what time it was due to leave. The train was supposed to come, and nothing happened. 11:15, half 11, 11:45, 12 o'clock. She noticed people on the platform started to unpack their lunches and their food and just started to eat. 12:15, half 12, and she was like starting to tap her foot. She was getting very anxious about this, and eventually this man obviously saw, that she was a bit anxious. Because the train hadn't come yet, he came over to her and he said in a very reassuring voice, "Don't worry, it will come. It will come." So.
Now, one thing that I found quite bizarre over there is, no, personally, I didn't have any issues with the train times, but the sheer volume of people. No order to get on or off the train. It was literally a fight to get on or
Were
get
they
off.
like sitting on the roof like you see?
Sitting on the roof, hanging on the sides. It was a real free for all, and like there's no. The train stops for X amount of time, and you're either on or you're off. It's crazy. Another thing that was quite bizarre was obviously having not being racist in any way, but your skin colour were white, and obviously it was almost like they saw us as celebrity type things. Like you'd have a lot of Indian men and women coming up to you asking could they have a photo with you, just random people on the street.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like you could be walking through a park ground, or we actually went to one of Gandhi's parks, and we were walking through, and numerous times during the day we were stopped and asked could they have a photograph with us.
You just reminded me of a guy I knew, another musician friend of mine. He was doing a tour in Brazil, and because of his white skin, obviously you'd stand out. And I know a lot of Brazilians are white as well, but especially women would come up to him all the time, wanting his phone number in a restaurant. He said it was incredible. And he told me one story where they were doing a gig. It was after the show, and he, some girl said to some guy he was playing with, he says like, that guy there, I think I want to marry him. You know, I think he has to, I want him to be my husband. And he said, well, you better have a chat with him about that first, you know. So she went over to my friend, sat down with him, and was chatting away to with him, you know. And she said, "Look, I think you should be my husband. I think you're the right person to be my husband." And he kind of laughed it off initially in the conversation, and then he realized after, well, Gina Mac, I think she's serious, you know.
Yeah.
And he started saying, well, he was trying to reason with her then, you know, he being polite and all that. Look, you know, we don't even know each other and all that. She was like nearly in tears, saying, "But I know you're the right person for me," and all that. He said it was quite bizarre.
Yeah, I've heard of stories like that with the predominantly Indian men with Western women. They would meet them, and it would kind of be like, I wouldn't say love on first sight, but you know, they would kind of.
But do you think was it a way of just wanting to get out of India themselves, or a passage out for them, or what?
Surprisingly, I don't know if you know this, but India is actually one of the largest importers of porn in the world.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's a big thing for them. So, kind of, a man in India with a Western wife is considered to be, you know, that's quite a big thing.
Okay.
In
a big
the
deal, like.
yeah.
He would be envied, is it?
Envied, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that, I wonder?
I've no idea. The other thing is like they have this conception that obviously the Westerners are very rich as well.
Yeah.
Because you would quite often like outright be asked for money, or could you supply something, or could you get something, or could you ship something over for them when you returned to Europe. I remember we were going to see the Taj Mahal, and we really wanted to go and see it. And if I remember rightly, it was a Friday, and we were speaking to this man, and he came up in his tuk-tuk, and it was about an hour to get to the Taj Mahal, and he was, "Oh, yeah, I can take it there, no problem, I can show you it." And we pulled up on the other side of the river, and he was like, there's the Taj Mahal. And we're like, "Can we not go closer? Can we not go in? Can we go and actually visit?" And he was like, "Oh no, it's closed on Fridays, but you still need to pay me for the journey."
Okay. It was an hour to get there.
An hour there and an hour back, yeah.
Jenny Mac.
Now, like, even if it's just spouting on now, but tuk-tuk drivers, there would literally be arguments between them over who would take us because we were Westerners, because they thought they would be able to get bigger tips and bigger money. Yeah.
Did you tip him?
Of course.
You didn't have a choice, did you?
I didn't have a choice, really.
Yeah. Jenny Mac. I've never had any desire to go to India for some reason. India and I always wanted to go to Egypt when I was a child, but I've kind of lost interest now in recent years. A friend of mine now, actually another Polish friend, she was there, and she said it was horrendous. Once you walked out on the street, people constantly hanging off you, looking for money or something.
Yeah, I've heard that experience from my partner. She said that when she was there in the 90s, that I believe that was kind of a very big thing. Maybe 10, 15 years ago. I think it's changed a lot since then, as it's gone more tourist orientated in certain areas of...
About killing them? Yeah. The listeners will enjoy those little stories. No? Okay, this is a slight addendum to the recording because he wasn't sure whether he could say this or not when we were chatting. Come on, just repeat what you just said to me there. You were afraid to say. There's no censorship on this channel. Come on.
So having a Western wife, a white skin coloured wife in India is almost seen as kind of like having a porn star status wife. I suppose because of their if being the biggest importer of porn in the world, up there in the top
but
three.
Like, as I said, if that's what they're used to seeing.
Yeah. I suppose if they're, predominantly what they watch is Bollywood movies and it's all Indian people.
But they're very tame, those Bollywood movies.
Exactly. So they're then importing this.
Yeah.
from the Western world, I suppose. And that's the way they view it.
It is like, what is it, 1.3 billion people population of India?
Around that, yeah.
But culturally, I mean, you'd know more than me now. What's the story with, as far as marriage and boyfriend-girlfriend behavior? Would they be, like, would Indians generally be promiscuous? Or is it a case of...
Indian men, as far as I'm concerned, would be quite promiscuous in the sense that in their beliefs and their religion, it's forbidden to be promiscuous, but a lot of them would end up
what?
straying from their beliefs and being of the promiscuous nature. Yeah.
Would there be any tendency towards male relationships?
I couldn't
a substitute.
I wouldn't know that.
Right, that's interesting now. I think that's amazing. I'd never would have put India as a big importer of that kind of material, but I guess we are living in a global world now, so...
Yeah, but going back to what you were saying about, their social standings and what have you, there is a massive amount of racism within India between different
that would be the
casting systems. The casting system. I couldn't get my head around that. Like, you would see a lighter skin-coloured Indian.
Well, we're back to religion again, this... like the essence of this caste system in India is that if you're from a lower caste, you are essentially, you have no human worth at all. You've done something to deserve being such a low person in society in a previous life. So this is what I would see as a Christian as the wicked side of these kind of philosophies.
Yeah.
That have no compassion for other humans, and it's really awful. It's terrible.
Yeah. But
did you witness anything personally while you were there, or that?
I was going back to the tuk-tuk drivers. Like, one incident that stands out, particularly his. We were going to get into a tuk-tuk of a darker skin colour Indian, and the lighter skinned Indian behind him gave him a lot of abuse. I'm not sure what was said between them because they were obviously speaking in their local dialect, but we ended up then having to move tuk-tuks and going with the lighter skinned.
So the darker skinned guy had to give way to...
Yeah.
So are you saying the lighter skinned guy was in a higher caste or what?
Yes.
Or are you just assuming that?
Assuming that he was in a higher caste because we didn't get into the...
Did he have a nicer tuk-tuk?
They all drive the same.
Yeah.
But like for me, going back to what we were originally talking about with India, them saying that 200,000 people have died because of COVID, I'm very skeptical on the numbers because there's so much death every day within India. One, because of their high population, and two, because of being a third world country.
And of course, if you're in a lower caste, no one's going to take care of you, or
no, definitely not.
You're just seen as human garbage, essentially.
Essentially, yes.
Correct? Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we definitely leave it at that now. Because
I'd say we'll leave it at that.
I just wanted to get that bit in about about their fondness for importing certain materials. Okay, grand. Okay, thanks, Ben. Thanks.
No problem. Thank you.
No worries.